Salutations, fam. This is Dark Slayer Arim from Haltesia Gaming, and oh my gosh, I don't know how I keep doing it, but I keep doing it. I managed to break another Blue Eyes deck. um, so I gotta tell you a little story. I actually go to tournaments multiple times a week. I usually go to around 3 tournaments a week, sometimes more, sometimes less, but it's usually around 3. I went to a tournament on Wednesday. I posted about that. I got a top 4 playing, dragons. And what ended up happening was, there is actually a player at the, region who's recently gotten back into the game who plays the Chaos Max OTK deck. And, he performed very poorly at the event. And like we were talking, because he happened to be like seated next to me in the last round. And he was saying about how like, man, this deck isn't very good. And I was like, well, I mean, I've been doing pretty well with Blue Eyes, so I don't think it's the deck. I think it's like, your build. And he was saying like, oh, he was like, nah, I'm playing a more pure version of the Blue Eyes. And I was like, no, you're not, first off. And secondly, I definitely have been summoning the vanilla for 2 weeks straight and like winning everything. So that's not it. And he was like, oh, but I took your advice and it didn't improve my performance. And then I was like, okay, you took my advice, right? And I pointed to the card in his hand. I was like, you're still playing that card that I very adamantly told you to take out your deck. And I told you to take it out your deck because it doesn't do anything. And he was like, no, but it does. And I was like, really? So in this game you just lost, why is it still sitting in your hand? Did it do anything? And he was like, well, no, because I wasn't able to get the setup. And I was like, and that's my point. It doesn't do anything unless you've managed to break through the opponent's board, break through all their negates, do your combo, get to your boss monster. But at that point, you've already won the game. At that point, it's still not doing anything. And so like that's what I explained to him, and we like kind of like this was like the moment where it finally like he understood like what I was trying to like, tell him. And so like I wanted to further like prove the point because I'm kind of petty sometimes. And I was like, okay, just to like prove the point that you can play the Chaos Max OTK deck and do all right, I'm gonna play the deck tomorrow and I'm going to like do well with it. And I did. But funny thing enough, like, because the thing is, of the Blue Eyes variants, I do think the Chaos Max OTK is like the worst one because it's a very linear OTK deck and it's not actually even that good at OTKing because it only OTKs if your opponent very specifically has a 0 defense position monster that you can attack into at Chaos Max. And if you're able it's just too many things have to go right? But when I was putting the deck list together, because the thing is, even with this deck though, a lot of the lists I see are like not optimized for like what you're trying to do. And when I was putting this deck together, I accidentally broke the deck again. So it's just like the biggest weakness of the deck is how like inconsistently it's able to OTK, even though that's what the deck is completely specialized to do. And so there were several times where I was doing test hands, right? And I was able to OTK even if I didn't get, that specific gimmicky one-shot OTK with Chaos Max. Right? I was able to just put enough damage on board to OTK after blowing up several cards and breaking the board. And I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, wow, I wonder what happened. How did I make the deck so much more consistent? And then I like added advanced ritual art to my deck during a test hand and I activated it and I realized I forgot to put Blue Eyes White Dragon in the deck. And I realized, wait a minute, I haven't been having trouble summoning Chaos Max without this package. Maybe I don't actually need that package, and I took it out of the deck. And, I took out the advanced ritual art and I put in something else. And I just played the deck as is. And let me tell you, like I said, I think I've broken the deck again. I'll talk a bit more about the individual card choices as I get to them. Because, like, this is a deck that doesn't really have a lot of information on it. Because it's an old deck. So there's been a lot of innovations with the deck. Obviously, there's things even I found recently, like yesterday. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into the deck profile. And again, I'll talk more about stuff as it comes up. So starting off, this is, what the deck is. It is the Chaos Max OTK deck. So I'm playing 3 copies of Chaos Max. But that's actually it. This is the only ritual monster that you will be summoning. I'm not playing the Blue Eyes Chaos Dragon because, like the whole attack with Chaos Dragon and then attack with Chaos Max, that's just like really gimmicky. It's just like, it's not happening. And then we have 1 copy of the White Knight of Dogmatika. You never summon this. This is literally here to be like a bridge to enable you to search this or summon this because it's a level 8 monster. But yeah, like I'll talk more about this, but this is literally just here to enable this. And then, we got Dogmatikas in here. We have 1 copy of Maximus, 1 copy of Fleur-de-Lis, and 1 copy of Dogmatika Ecclesia. Then we have the incantations. We got 2 Candle and 2 Talismandra, right? And then this next card is the one that is just like, it's baffling to me that I don't see this played in Chaos Max OTK decks. And this is okay, so just to get this out of the way, Sheehan Spy, I'm not playing that. I've never played that in Chaos Max OTK. I'm never going to play it in Chaos Max OTK because it's not a good card. It doesn't do anything. If you're in a position where Sheehan Spy won you the game, here's the thing. You actually already won the game because you've already gotten through their board. You've already summoned your boss monster. At that point, the Sheehan Spy OTK just like kills them. But there are better things to kill them with. The thing is, like, Creature Swap is better, but it's still not that good because, same kind of concept. But it's like, these are cards that don't do anything unless you're already winning the game, basically. And if you're already winning the game, you're already winning the game. So it's like you want to play cards that allow you to win the game when you're not already winning the game. So the next 3 cards are 3 copies of Nightmare Corruptor Ibli. So I've talked about this card when mentioning, but I've never actually specifically named it because I wanted to save it for the video. But basically what this card does is this card is Sheehan Spy, Creature Swap. Like this is all of that, but in a monster card that you can summon. So basically what you do with this is when this card is sent to the graveyard, it summons itself to your opponent's field in defense position and it has 0 defense. But what it also does is while this card is like on the board, that player cannot special summon monsters except for link monsters. So Ibli turns off Nibiru, Ibli turns off Gamma, Ibli turns off Phantasme, Ibli turns off tag out effects. It turns off it turns off a lot of stuff. And if you link off into where's my extra deck? Hold up. So the idea of how I use this card is I just normal summon Ibli, I link off into Lingaribo, and then this summons to their board in defense position, right? And then Lingaribo can negate trap effects. So it's like you have this monster that does something even if you are not performing the Chaos Max OTK, but it also enables you to just OTK them out of nowhere. And the big difference between this and, like Sheehan Spy and Creature Swap is that this is just always good to do. It is always good to lock your opponent out of special summoning monsters, It is always good to summon a negate and everything like that. Or you summon Almirage and then you have protection and whatnot. But the idea with this card and why you should be playing this card and you shouldn't be playing Sheehan Spy is because this does the same thing as Sheehan Spy and Creature Swap, but it's always good. And it just does it way better and with way more effects. But yeah, and that's going to be it for the monsters. And next up we got 2 copies of Bingo Machine Go. Just 2. It's hard once per turn. I want to kind of cut down on the hard once per turns. I'm playing multiple of them. Obviously, we know why we play Bingo Machine Go in the Chaos. Actually, now I think about it, I've seen a lot of lists that aren't playing Bingo Machine Go. So the reason you play Bingo Machine Go is because, and actually that's the idea behind this kind of deck, is that you play cards that become what you need them to be. You pick up what you need based on the situation, right? Bingo Machine Go searches either Chaos Max or Chaos Form, depending on what you need. Ecclesia searches Fleur-de-Lis or Maximus, depending on what you need. You have 2 copies of Nadir Servant. This card is either a board breaker or a searcher, depending on what you need. 2 copies of Extra Foolish Burial, similar concept. It is either a board breaker or a searcher, depending on what you need. The thing about like a blind second deck, and specifically the Chaos Max OTK deck, and the weakness the deck always had was that you had to have like a 4 or 5 card combo to do anything. And like it had to be like you had to like specifically have like a board breaker, multiple consistency cards to like get to your like Chaos Max, and then you also had to have like the incantations, and then specifically have a Sheehan Spy, and that's like 5 cards that you have in order to like win the game. And then like again, it's not even that good at winning the game. So like when you're building the deck, and that's like the changes I made, I'm playing a bunch of cards that change what they do depending on what you need. But then moving on, we have 3 copies of Signet Mining, because this actually searches Ibly. You know, this searches Ibly, and so does this Piri Reis map. So you have 9 copies of, you know, the Ibly that goes to your opponent. So you have 9 copies of Sheehan Spy, but these cards also serve like other utility because, you know, Ibly also is just a negate that locks your opponent out. Special summon. If your opponent makes you go first, that's your play. You just kind of summon that, give it to your opponent, and if they're playing like Virtual World or they're playing like a deck that doesn't have generic links to link off the Ibly, they actually just cannot special summon. The most they will be able to do is switch Ibly to attack position, so you can't like punch them for 8,000. But then you just do that anyway because you are able to put enough damage on the board. And that's also one of the things about the like the Nadir engine, like the Dogmatika engine, is it allows you to OTK outside of very specific scenarios where you have like that, you know, one punch scenario with Chaos Max. There were several games in playing this deck where I wasn't in a scenario where I couldn't OTK because I have just damage on board. Also, I do kind of want to like talk about this real quick. So Chaos Form as a ritual spell. Speaking of 3 copies of Chaos Form, obviously, it has to like exactly tribute the number of the ritual monster. So it has to specifically be 8 stars. And that was why you play like the Blue Eyes White Dragon and the Advanced Ritual Art to be able to facilitate that. But the Dogmatic is actually also facilitated. So you have multiple different combinations that allow you to summon Chaos Max. Talismandra plus Ibly. So that's why you like sometimes you will want to get like a second Ibly to tribute it from your hand, right? Talismandra plus Ibly is 8, so you summon Chaos Max. Maximus, Fleur de Lis, and the Dogmatica Ritual are 8, so you summon Chaos Max. Kandal plus Ecclesia is 8, so you summon Chaos Max. So that's why like you aren't having trouble summoning Chaos Max. And then moving on to the board breaker cards, we have 3 copies of Super Polymerization and 1 copy of Forbidden Droplet. I only own 1 copy of Forbidden Droplet, that's why I'm only playing 1. I would want to play at least 2 of this, but I only own 1, so I'm only playing 1. But, you know, I'm also a GOAT player, so we just draw 1-ofs. We did draw this. And then we got triple copies of Lightning Storm. And again, like these, you'll notice even with the board breakers, these are cards that serve multiple utility, right? This destroys monsters or back row. This can either break boards or be set going first to use a disruption, you know? And then the droplet, you know, it helps you break boards, or you can set it going first to be like monster effect negation. And then we got the 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. Again, multiple utility based on what you need. This can either draw you cards to get you more, you know, cards to be able to get to that Chaos Max OTK if that's what you need to do. It takes your opponent's monster so you can, you know, use it to help break the board. You can look at your opponent's hand, rip out hand traps. I actually never end up using that effect. Usually I'm just either drawing 2 cards or like taking their monster. And then the last 2 cards, we have 1 copy of Pot of Desires and 1 copies of Into the Void. So the thing about Extrav and why I'm not playing Extrav, because I used to play Extrav in the deck, but the thing is, Extrav locks you out of like drawing with any other cards for the rest of the turn. So it's like it severely, so basically if you play Extrav, that's the only drawing you're doing for the turn. And sometimes you will need to like pick up more cards over the course of the turn as you're trading your card advantage with your opponent. And like that's the main thing, is that like you're going to need more card advantage to be able to break through your opponent's board because you're a going second deck. And so like and also it conflicts with the map, because the map has to be used at the start of main phase 1, and so does Extrav. And so rather than playing, you know, Extrav and like cutting myself off from like the map and being able to have that extra consistency, I opted to just play like Desire, the Tactics, and the Into the Void, which are all like, you know, I can use all of them, right? So I can go Tactics, draw 2, and then Desires, draw 2, and Into the Void in the same turn, where if I was playing Extra, I would only be able to Extra draw 2. But that's going to be it for the main deck. It is 40 cards. Moving on to the Extra, I just want to shout out my Catastrophe dice. Homie, when I was playing Dragon, like, homie was like really betraying me. He kept showing his face to me. But you know, yesterday he was all right. So funnily enough, like in the deck where it doesn't matter if you win the die roll, I won like most of my die rolls yesterday. I only lost one die roll, but it's just like I'm making them go first anyway, so it doesn't matter that I'm losing the die roll if I lose the die roll. But yeah, moving on to the Extra deck. So as you know, I'm maining 3 Super Poly, and you know this deck doesn't use its Extra deck. Well, it uses its Extra deck, but it doesn't summon from the Extra deck very often. Well, like you know what I mean. But I'm playing a Super Poly Extra deck. I'm playing 1 Invoked Elysium, 1 Prank Kids Weather Washer, 1 Masquerade the Blazing Dragon, 1 Guilty Gearfried the Magical Steel Knight, 1 Mud Dragon, 1 Starving Venom, and 1 Dragostapelia. So I'm playing 7 Super Poly targets in my Extra deck to make sure I have like a lot of coverage going into a lot of different matchups. But of course I play against Torts Olteni where it doesn't do anything, so I sided out the Super Polys. But it's like it's fine because we still won. But oh, actually I don't think I ever like said, but I had 1 loss to Skill Drain. Yeah, I can't play through Skill Drain. Like that's like the only thing. But I won, you know, all my other matches, so that was pretty cool. And I got I finished in 4th place. We got top 4. I finished 4th. But anyway, moving on, we have 2 copies of Entis. I probably would bump this up to 3, but I didn't need the 3rd one, but I would bump this up to 3 probably. I'm playing 3 Lingaribo. I'm gonna be real with you. You don't need to play 3 Lingaribo. Probably 2 is fine. I didn't feel like looking for my second Almirage, so I'm only playing 1 Almirage. But you know, you need these so you can link off the Iblis. You want to play like multiple of this because like going first, you link off Ibli into Almirage so that they can't go battle phase, switch it to attack, and crash into your Lingaribo so that they can summon in main phase 2. If you make Almirage, they can't get rid of the Ibli unless they like have like generic links or like a monster to tribute summon over it. So like usually you'll be able to like OTK them on the follow up. And then the last 2 cards are 2 copies of Herald of the Arclight to round out the 15 card Extra deck. So basically the idea with like the Dogmatika stuff is that like, again, they're either board breakers, depending on what you need because you send Entis, or they're consistency cards because you send Herald. And the thing about why I'm playing the Dogmatika Ritual is because that has 500 attack, and Nadir can only search a monster that has less attack than what you send. And Herald of the Arclight has 600 attack. So in order for you to be able to Nadir, send Herald, and search a ritual piece, you have to have the Dogmatika Ritual to be able to like, you know, add to your hand. And I'm not gonna lie, like it was super consistent, and it was super effective because again, I have all these cards that are like multi-utility, and they just like kind of become what I need. So even though it is like a 5 card combo, because so many of the cards in my deck just become what I need in that situation, I'm able to get to the 5 card combo just consistently, you know? And like also drawing a 6 card for turn helps, and you know, sometimes you draw way more than 6 because you see tactics, desires, and like, you know, the Into the Void. And like, you know, like there were so many times where it's just like, man, I just need 1 piece. Let's, you know, fire off this draw spell. And I would draw the last piece, and it's just like, you know, everything just kind of like worked out. It was really good. And one thing that actually was brought up to me when I, you know, got back from the tournament, I told my friends about it, was that we realized that this deck might actually be good this format because you're playing a Chaos Max OTK like ritual deck. And the format is Scythe Block plus DPE, which does not do that much to this deck, you know, because like the Chaos Max can't be destroyed by card effects, so DPE doesn't do anything to it. And they're Scythe Blocking you, and like your boss monsters are in the main deck, so you don't care about that either. And it's just like, oh my goodness, like Chaos might actually be good this format. The reason why I don't think it's like super amazing because like I don't know what you do against back row. I'll tell you what I did against back row. We're gonna go into the side deck. So So in the side, I'm playing 2 copies of Godarla, 2 copies of Gameciel, right? Triple copies of Raigeki, right? Triple copies of Raigeki. And then the rest of the side deck is literally just back row hate. Everything else in the side deck is back row hate. So I'm playing triple copies of Cosmic Cyclone, triple copies of Twin Twisters, 1 Duster, and 1 Red Reboot. You know, now one thing I will say that I'm kind of like, I realize is that like I didn't play Pank. Big sads. I should have, you know, played like 1 Kaiju and a Pank, but I didn't because I didn't want to take my secret Pank out of my other deck. But yeah, that's the side, and basically against back row, all of this is coming in. Because like you really do, like you kind of struggle against back row. If they flip up like anti-spell, like you have to out it or else you just can't play. And like I said, like this deck is kind of like linear. It's kind of like a linear OTK deck. So the thing is, you can like build it to go first, but it's just like so bad at going first that it's not really worth it in my opinion. It's better to like, okay, because like you will win, like you win game 1, and then game 2 they're gonna make you go first, rather than like committing like a lot of pieces in your side to be able to like, and like pieces in your extra deck to be able to make your deck be able to go first. I think it's just better to just accept that you're probably gonna lose that game where you go first if you don't see like the Ibly plus like, you know, like Super Poly or Droplet or whatever, right? That's probably gonna happen, and you just like OTK them again in game 3, right? So it's like, it's better to just make your deck be really, really good at the thing it's good at than in trying to like make your deck like be good at everything. Because you know, deck building pitfall, if you try to make your deck do everything, you will just end up with a deck that doesn't do anything consistently. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the deck profile. But yeah, that's like the main thing about it, is that like you're taking advantage of a bunch of cards that like change what they do depending on what you need for that moment. Obviously, it's a blind second deck, and yeah, like it performed pretty well. I was able to break through pretty much every single board. Like actually, I did break through every single board. In the game that I lost, the 1 match that I lost, I still broke through the entire board, but it's just because the Chaos Max was negated, I couldn't actually get the OTK, because I was able to like break the board. I was able to like, you know, get rid of all the interruption. I was able to give them the Ibly. I was able to summon the Chaos Max, but because of the like, you know, the Chaos Max was negated, I couldn't actually kill them, and it was just like, well, you know, I can't kill you, and like if I don't kill you, I kind of lose. And what? How did he get rid of the Ibly? I think he like just attacked into I think he just used the Ibly and like crashed into the Chaos Max or something. But like he outed the Ibly and then he like killed me. But it's just like every other match, it's just like, you know, it just happens super consistently. But unfortunately, that's just like a weakness of the deck, is that you kind of die to skill drain. But that's also why like the side deck is like, you know, 8 back row hate cards. But I'll just do a quick test hand. No, also another thing about the deck where I realized the deck was like kind of insane was that when I was doing test hands, I realized I was doing test hands with 5 cards. And in practice, in an actual like tournament environment, you're gonna have 6 cards. So even with the deck being as consistent as it was with 5 cards, the deck is actually more consistent because you're gonna have that 6th card. And you know, it was pretty good. But yeah. We're gonna do a test hand to just kind of showcase how I play it out. Let's think of like a, you know, standard board. What's a good deck right now? Say Brave, right? They have the Griffin plus like the Battle Butler setup, right? Right. Sheesh. Oh well. We win the game. We win the game. Yeah, this is pretty good. So obviously we're starting with the Storm, starting with Lightning Storm. We're gonna break the board. That's probably gonna force out the Griffin negate. Okay, they use the Griffin negate. We're gonna hold the tactics. Actually, we're gonna hold the tactics. We're gonna keep going, see if we get stuck. So they still have the Battle Butler, obviously. Yeah, they still have the Battle Butler. Let's see. We need tribute fodder for the Chaos Max. So we're gonna play a little bit. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna normal the Ibly. If they battle Butler summons to their field, we don't have to care about that anymore. But if they don't, we go ahead, we link it off, and we're going to make the Almirage actually. And that's one of the reasons why the Almirage is in there, because sometimes you need to do that. Sometimes you do need to be able to like protect your stuff from getting blown up. So we're gonna summon the Almirage, and then summon the Ibly to their board, so they have the Ibly on their board. Oh wait, actually, I just realized this is really strong against Prank Kids, because this turns off like Pandemonium. So obviously they're going to use the Pandemonium here. They're going to summon the Battle Butler like before the Ibly gets to their board. I didn't even realize that application, but this turns off Pandemonium. Like I told you, Ibly just like has like a lot of like interactions that just like are really strong. So that happens. We have the Battle Butler to deal with. If they have like another Prank Kid monster, or like they have something else on the board, we can like actually just super poly. But at this point, because we're like kind of low on cards, we need to get more cards. We're gonna actually tactics, and we're gonna draw 2 cards here. So let's see what we draw. We're gonna tactics, and we're gonna draw another super poly and Into the Void. Okay. We're gonna Into the Void. We're gonna trade it out. Oh, actually, I shouldn't have done it yet. I shouldn't have done it yet. We're gonna put these back actually, because we were supposed to do the incantation thing first to thin the deck. That's what we were supposed to do first. So reveal Chaos Max, special Talismandra, effective Talismandra will special from the deck. Get the Candle, because I just realized we don't have the ritual spell. We were about to mess up. Where's Candle? I just saw a Candle. Here's Candle. So we summon Candle. Candle effect. We're gonna add the Chaos form, right? And then we're gonna shuffle. But now we are stuck. Well, actually, hold up. What level is what's his face? What level is Weather Washer? What level is Weather Washer? It's a 5. Okay, so you can't use him. But you know, sometimes that does come up too, where you use like super poly targets to like, you know, tribute for Chaos Max. But okay, now that we've done that, we've deck thinned a lot. We have the Chaos form and stuff. We're gonna attack this. Now we're gonna draw 2. Oh snap! I knocked the camera. Didn't mean to do that. We're gonna shuffle up real quick. Then we're gonna draw 2 cards, and let's see if we draw into like a Nadir or something. Oh wow, we shuffled up and we still drew Super Volley. Nadir. All right, we're in there. Cool. They have like the Battle Butler still, and now we go like if we need to Super Poly at this point. We would have super poly, but we're not gonna super poly. We're just gonna like Nadir, and we're gonna send. We can either go Herald here, but I usually don't do that. I usually will go Entis, because you know they would still have the Battle Butler. Entis, you know, force out the last bit of interruption. We're gonna add the Ecclesia, because this is usually what I do. It's like sometimes I'll send Herald because I would have game at that point. But like we want to, you know, just really make sure we have game, right? So we summon the Ecclesia, Entis, effect a pop, special the Ecclesia effect will pick up the Maximus, right? Pick up Maximus, banish the Entis to special summon the Maximus. And this is why it's important to have the Almirage, because if we didn't go into Almirage, they'd be able to Battle Butler here and like, you know, blow out the Maximus before we get to use it. If we didn't, you know, pop it with Entis just now, but you know, that's the idea. And now we go Maximus effect, and we send from the extra deck Herald of the Arclight and the second Entis, right? So we'll get another pop potentially, right? And we get the Herald to search, and so we're gonna pick up either a Chaos Max or a Dogmatika Ritual Monster, or like another Chaos form. So actually we'll pick up another Chaos form actually, right? In case they have Ghost Spell in hand, right? Because you can negate Chaos form with Ghost Spell, right? So now we have 2 ritual spells, and we have 2 ritual spells and multiple ways to get to the ritual summon, because this is 8 and the Maximus is 8. I'm gonna move the Maximus back in the frame because you can't see it. And then this is our hand now. Gonna go Chaos form, and just for the sake of it, I'll tribute off Kandal and Ecclesia, right? And we will summon the Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon. They have the Ibli on the board. You just go battle, you attack the Ibli, you win the game. And that's the basic gist of how like it functions. That's the basic gist of how the deck functions, how it plays out. And yeah, like it was very good. We had, you know, you have all the board breaker cards, so you can typically chew through most of the boards in the format. Just again, and the thing about the game that I lost the skill drain, I didn't see like any going second cards. I didn't see Extra Foolish. I didn't see Nadir. I didn't see Storm. Didn't see Droplet. Like I didn't see any of the going second cards or any of the like Dogmatika Engine. So it's just like couldn't like break through the board. It was like dang. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one. But yeah, this has been Dark Slayer Arim from Salutations Gaming. Thank you very much for watching, and have a wonderful day. Go drink some water.